Hey, what's up, my fellow Americans? How you doing? I'm doing okay. We are talking about a new comic book movie. Well, it's been a couple weeks since it came out, and it is Captain America: A Brave New World. And this is not only a sequel to the previous three Steve Rogers Captain Americas, but also a follow-up to The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It does a nice job, I think, like kind of bridging the two. Frankly, to be honest, if you want to look at it as a franchise, this is the fifth installment, really. So, hey, it is starring, well, first off, it's directed by Julius Ona, and starring Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, Captain America, Harrison Ford taking over the role as General, now President Ross, and Red Hulk. Let's see. Also, Shira Haas, and Danny Ramirez as Joaquin Torres, also the new Falcon. Let's see, Giancarlo Esposito is Sidewinder. Tim Blake Nelson is the leader, which I'm not sure if he's called the leader in the movie. A lot of these films do that, where it's the character, but they never say it out loud. And Liv Tyler, hey, she's back as Betty Ross. So the basic gist is Ross is now president, and Wilson is now Captain America. They don't like each other. Ross actually imprisoned Wilson during the Civil War film, but now they have to work together. And Ross puts out this invite to Wilson to show up to this big announcement they're doing. And hey, bring Isaiah along. Isaiah is from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, and he has kind of a beef with government because he was wrongly imprisoned by them and tortured for 30 years. So, you know, it kind of builds a little resentment there. But he invites him in, and the big announcement is, hey, remember that Celestial that died and stuck in the Earth in the Eternals film? A lot of people have, like, one of their criticisms of, like, Phase 4 and Phase 5 is the big plot hole about the Celestial stuck in the Earth that no one deals with. Like, first off, it's not a plot hole. It's a lingering plot thread. It's very different things. Learn what stuff means. Two, they were getting to it, and I always felt they were getting to it. And the in-universe explanation actually makes a lot of sense in that this sudden giant weird island that shows up, the countries of the world are arguing over who owns it and who can mine it for a certain metal that they discover, and they call adamantium, which is the Wolverine metal. This is directly, okay, we're getting Wolverine, and also, by the way, this does tell us that the Hugh Jackman Wolverine probably won't be the regular Wolverine of the MCU. So we're leading to a new Wolverine. So, actually, you know, now that I think about it, it probably means Logan hasn't been injected with the metal yet. Or maybe it's happening now, while they're not telling us. Maybe there's some secret experiments going on at the moment during all this hoo-ha. But anyway, I'm getting away from the film, and during the announcement, Isaiah and a few others that were in the room try to kill Ross. Isaiah momentarily escapes, but surrenders to Wilson, Isaiah almost gets shot by the police, but he is able to be talked down. And he kind of flipped out and kind of went into like this weird kind of zombie mode along with the others that were trying to shoot Ross. So Wilson, of course, like goes into the investigation, and it leads to the leader who has this nefarious plan. But I won't really get into too deep of what the plan is, but it does involve getting Ross more and more over the edge, let's just say. And of course, this does mean like Ross will turn into the Red Hulk, and you know, start causing, you know, irreparable harm and damage and possibly world war with our allies. Gee, that's kind of familiar. I don't know where they got these ideas from. So let's see, I won't really get too deep into it, but let me just go into some of the performances. First off, Anthony Mackie is terrific. I rewatched Falcon and the Winter Soldier in preparation for this, and man, I really like him. I think I'm really happy to see him go into leading man status. I'd like to see him in other films, really. I'd see. I know he has a couple other projects going on, and I'd like to see more of him. He has a lot of. He has a lot of what Chris Evans does, and I really dig it. But he does bring like a difference because Sam has different experiences, of course, from Steve Rogers, and he's able to inject that. And one of the things I've always liked about Captain America, probably the thing I like most about Captain America, is he's this representation of America, but he also has to deal with the evils of America and kind of like find some way of resolving it, and kind of like having to deal with the fact that sometimes he has to stand as the representation of America, even though America does terrible things. And I think the idea of a black man as Captain America is really ingenious in that way, because it really does heighten that issue. And it does that. It does that to a lesser extent in this film than it did in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which really dug into it. But that's not to say this film doesn't. That's not to say that this film avoids that. It definitely does. The main plot is the leader trying to destroy Ross and his position in America's position in the world, but it's there. It's definitely a strong undercurrent. So Harrison Ford is really good, and this is probably the most energetic I've seen Harrison Ford. Not counting him being the Hulk, but let's see. He's really good in this. He's so comfortable in this role, you almost forget watching it that this is the first time he's played Ross. He's taking over the role. For the late John Hurt, and I do think, like, what would John Hurt have done with this role? Sam Elliott played this character in the Ang Lee Hulk, and sometimes I've wondered, like, what would what would it look like if Sam Elliott was able to keep this role? Like, what would a Sam Elliott Red Hulk President Sam Elliott be like? But I think it's surprising. Like, the haircut is a little similar. They explain away the mustache, which, to be honest, Red Hulk with the mustache, just, I don't know. I believe in the original comic he didn't have the mustache, but Ross did. So that was like, oh, he can't be the Red Hulk. And then they said, like, when he turns into the Hulk, the mustache just disappears. That's dumb. That's silly. Just have him shave the mustache off. Or let him keep it. Like, I believe in recent comics we've seen him, like, he just has the mustache. It's like, okay, that looks fun. The Hulk with the mustache is pretty funny. So, yeah, I really like it. The performances are really tight. We also have Tim Blake Nelson back as the leader, as a long promise. We were given a cliffhanger in that Hulk film, and we've never really delivered on it. To be honest, like, I've been more anticipating that, and more disappointed that wasn't picked up than the Celestial, because I don't know. I had confidence the Celestial was coming back, but Tim Blake Nelson as the leader wasn't sure. And he is wonderful. That actor shows up every so often, and you're just really really impressed with how he does, like, simple, lovable guys and evil guys like that with no trouble whatsoever. And it's a real strong talent. And like I mentioned, Betty Ross does show up, and we're shown pictures because at the beginning of the film, Ross is estranged from Betty as normal. They usually aren't on speaking terms, and they haven't spoken in a couple of years apparently. And he looks at a picture of her, and it's Liv Tyler, and I'm like, in the audience thinking, we're going to see Liv Tyler in this movie. because Betty's been mentioned and suggested a couple times. We haven't seen Liv Tyler's face because you gotta pay her. So once they showed her picture, it's like, oh, damn, we're gonna see Betty Ross in this movie. Cool. Um, it is frustrating because Marvel Disney's deal with Universal and the Hulk film rights is annoying. I wish we could get like another film. I wish they could untie these knots that seem to be holding us back from getting a full Hulk film instead of Hulk and his characters having to kind of appear in other projects. But it's fun and actually it works very nicely. And Leader's a character that primarily sticks with Hulk, and I keep thinking, this guy would be everybody's problem. This guy would be a Doctor Doom or a Thanos type of threat. A character that has primarily has a enemy they fight, but uh, their their threat hits everybody. And they don't really seem to do that very much with Leader. And I'm glad at least the result of the legal problems with Universal, we can at least do that. So yeah, I like it a lot. The action sequences are very nice. God, they just like every time Sam goes into the air, it looks really beautiful. And the work with the martial arts, where he's able to do like martial arts and incorporate the wings and the shield very nicely. These fight scenes are really spectacular. And then we go into the air battles with planes, uh, which brings a whole new different dynamic to that. And they've been able to do a lot with this like wingsuit that he has. And the final fight, and of course this isn't really a spoiler. It's a fight with Red Hulk, and it's a one-on-one fight. Uh, and it's pretty exciting. I was like really invested, and there is, I will say, there's a moment right after the fight where um, we're allowed to kind of just sit and reflect on what we just watched. It's a nice kind of like pause for a couple seconds where we just kind of sit and just kind of like soak it in. It's like that was a really cool moment. Because you're thinking, man, did I just watch that? I gotta say the scene with Red Hulk on top of the burning White House and all the chaos going around him, um, that is probably the most 2025 moment I will see in a film all year. I can't. I'm sure there might be contenders, but I think that's the moment of the year as far as I'm concerned. So hey, I really dug this. I don't know how I would compare it to the other Captain America films. This is primarily, I think, my favorite franchise within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think this stands really nicely. If you're a fan of those previous ones, I really do recommend checking it out if you haven't already. And I would probably give this a very strong 4 out of 5 round chips. I hope they do some more. If not, this is really. I don't know if I really call this a conclusion because you know I don't know if this works primarily as a conclusion. So I would like to see another one, frankly. Of course, this will lead into the next Avengers film, but I would be very. Oh, there's also some mentions of Sam kind of retooling, giving his okay to retool and rebuild the Avengers. So I assume we'll be seeing a new version of the Avengers in, the Avengers film, The Secret. I believe the next one is Secret Wars. So, yeah, those are all my thoughts. I really loved it. I recommend it. Check it out. And what do you, the viewers at home, think? Let me know in the comments below. You can hit me on, The Real Manus is on Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, Tumblr, and also Substack. You can watch my videos and read my work on free and non-free tiers. It's up to you. And then Patreon, you can support the channel. If you want to see me, if you support me more on Patreon, I can produce more videos. This can be more of a thing. I'd like to produce more, but scheduling kind of does make it troublesome for me sometimes. All right, so I think that's it. That's all I got. So I'll be talking to you next about the first season of the new Spider-Man show. I really like that show a lot. Oops, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But we'll get into it. I'll talk more in depth about it next time around. So until next time, push the button, Lindsay.